talking snow. We're talking about only 27 hours, give or take a few minutes, until the Alabama Crimson Tide takes on the Texas Longhorns in the BCS National Championship game.
I know, big story. Our home team coverage of the game continues today in Southern California. WVUA Sports Director Gary Harris is live via Skype to tell us about Coach Nick Saban's final press conference.
Well, thanks a lot. Unlike where you guys are at there in Alabama, where it's cold and frosty, it's an absolutely gorgeous day again here in Newport Beach, California, about an hour from Pasadena on this Rose Bowl BCS National Championship game eve. Well, this morning it was the final press conferences for the two head coaches, Nick Saban and Mack Brown. Nick Saban was able to come into the press conference in a good mood, by his standards at least, and even before questions were asked, he said, I'm going to save one question for you. I know you're going to ask me what we do differently to prepare for this game. Well, he had a humorous tidbit of information for the media.
I know somebody's going to ask me, what do you do different to get ready for this game? So before you ask me, I'm going to ask you, what do you do different to cover the game?
We'll open it up for questions.
No, I'm not finished. I just, before I got that, I just wanted to kind of put it in perspective for you so that you could kind of understand that.
So as you can see and hear, Coach Saban is capable of being a little bit lighthearted, even on the eve of the biggest football game in many years at the University of Alabama. Well, much more Alabama football to come tonight at 5, 6, and 10. We're going to have more from Coach Saban. We're going to hear from Mack Brown, the Texas head coach. He had a terrific press conference today as well. Alabama players talk about how anxious they are to finally get on the field and settle who is the best. And later on tonight at 10 o'clock, we're going to hear from some of the ESPN analysts that will be working the game tomorrow night and what they think about the Tide and the Longhorns. That's going to do it for now. Reporting from Newport Beach, California, live, I'm Gary Harris, along with John Huddleston and Todd Hoyer. Now back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Gary. We continue our home team coverage from the West Coast with sports anchor John Huddleston. He caught up with the Engelbert family who traveled to California from Green Pond in Bibb County.
Here in picturesque Southern California, the weather has been terrific, the scenery beautiful, and Tide fans have been pouring in by the droves. It did not take us long to find several members of the Tide Nation. Matter of fact, the night that we arrived and went to pick up our rental car, there were several members of the Alabama family standing in front of us.
We decided we was going to come out here if Alabama came, and so here we are. We got two girls that are students. We figured it's pretty special if we could win a national title while they're both at the university.
She has a crush on Trent. Yes.
Really?
No, not really.
Whether or not these predictions come true, we'll have to wait and find out. This much we do know for sure. Come Thursday night at the Rose Bowl, the Tide Nation will be well represented. Reporting in Newport Beach, California, I'm John Huddleston, WVUA News.
And on a different note, it's the day Alabama fans have been waiting years for.
Absolutely, a shot at another national championship football title. Alabama's home team has brought you live coverage from California all week long.
And WVUA Sports Director Gary Harris is standing by live now via Skype from the Rose Bowl. Hi, Gary.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Terry. I'm back here in the BCS Championship game post-game interview room at the Rose Bowl. And let me give you an update on how things are unfolding. First of all, the fans are here in mass for both teams. But even though the game's still about 2.5 hours away from kickoff, it's already filling up. Coming up tonight at 6, we're going to talk with Alabama fans from all over the country and get their thoughts. Of course, you have a pretty good idea who they think is going to win the game.
Thank you, Gary. And of course, for the rest of us fans not lucky enough to be there in California, a lot of folks in front of their TVs tonight.
Absolutely. Bars and restaurants around Tuscaloosa are preparing for the big crowds this evening. Here's a look at Brown's Corner in downtown Tuscaloosa. The Tuscaloosa Police Department says extra officers will be on duty in case there's an Alabama victory and some fans get too rowdy. But they're not expecting too many problems because of the cold weather and the dismissal of classes at the University of Alabama. And if you're looking for a place to watch the game tonight, fans are invited to the Bryant Conference Center starting at 5:30. Bring your tailgate decor, food, and drinks. Tickets are $12 per person, and a portion of the proceeds goes to United Cerebral Palsy of West Alabama. Organizers say the party is on no matter how cold it is. And UA students are invited to cheer on the Tide at the Ferguson Center. The tailgate party is already underway. Students will be treated to free barbecue, and the first 200 students get a free t-shirt.
Tide now in the locker room, probably going to come out for pregame warm-ups here in about 15 to 20 minutes. Well, yesterday was the final press conferences for the two head coaches, Nick Saban of Alabama and Mack Brown of Texas. And both these coaches, great winners, both have national championships, but they go about their business in different manners. And both teams talked about, or both coaches talked about, how they were going to get their teams ready in terms of final preparations.
You know, at this point, you want to focus on execution.
Well, we are the champions. That's what Alabama football fans are singing tonight. It was a close game up until the end when freshman Texas quarterback Garrett Gilbert fumbled the ball and Alabama defensive end Courtney Upshaw recovered it. That set up this Mark Ingram touchdown. The play was under official review, but the touchdown stood, and that's when Alabama fans started celebrating. Hello, everyone. I'm Claire Stewart. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get to our school closings and weather in just a few minutes, but our top story tonight is the BCS championship game. Alabama got off to a shaky start, but by the second quarter, the Tide was rolling. Our home team sports crew is at the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California. Sports director Gary Harris joins us live via Skype with more. Hey, Gary.
Well, thank you, Claire. People are still leaving the stadium behind me, so I'm a little squeezed for space here, but what an incredible night for Alabama to win its 13th national championship. Let's go ahead and roll some video, and we can show you that early on, Alabama made a big play on defense. It was certainly a disappointing play for Texas. Their star senior quarterback, Colt McCoy, injured his shoulder and was done for the night. Right now, live from the Rose Bowl, you see it right behind me, Gary Harris reporting, Alabama wins it 37-21, national championship. Number 13 is in the books. All right, Claire, let's go back to you in the studio.
Also got our tower camera looking at the Strip in Tuscaloosa. They're celebrating a victory. And as we zoom in, the students on the Strip, we're told, are singing Rammer Jammer. It's just a celebratory atmosphere outside in Tuscaloosa tonight. So even though there's cold weather, that doesn't matter. They are celebrating. All right, and this is at Houndstooth. This was right when the game ended, and Alabama is #1 in the country. Very exciting. Everybody's definitely excited. Even though Texas lost its star quarterback, Colt McCoy, in the opening drive, the Longhorns did put up a good fight. However, it was no match for the Tide in the fourth quarter. Fans are extremely proud of the way the offense and defense played tonight.
Well, we were in college. We have a crystal ball. We won. Ship is back in Tuscaloosa, baby!
He's dominated over the 3 years that he's been here. It takes one season to get somewhere, but it's hard work that pays off in the end. And I'm so happy for Nick Saban and everybody in the Alabama football department.
All right, and as we told you all week, many businesses in West Alabama are opening tonight because of the Tide's big win. Official championship t-shirts are now on sale. And this was the scene earlier tonight at the Trunk off Bryant Drive in Tuscaloosa. Academy Sports and Outdoors and Alabama Express also opened their doors tonight. And the University of Alabama hosted a tailgate for its students tonight as well. About 1,000 students are back on campus. Many of them are from other countries and made travel plans before UA announced that classes would resume later than usual. So they're waiting for the semester to begin. Plenty of freshmen were at the tailgate too, and they've got really big expectations for Alabama football based on this year's season.
It's really great. I really love. I'm excited that I came this year instead of like last year.
The students that are here now, I feel the excitement on campus, but I wish everybody was here and that we can celebrate it all together.
Man, it's a dream come true. Hopefully it can be the same the rest of my college career. You know, I brag to all my friends.
And actually being here the first year and they're like this, it's just absolutely amazing. And I just look forward to 3 more years of this.
All day long, really all week long, we have been taking tons of calls into our newsroom wanting to know where and when you can greet the team as they return home to Tuscaloosa. Now, this team is scheduled to arrive on 2 planes at the Tuscaloosa Regional Airport. The original times for those to come in were 6:45 and 7:30 tonight. However, we've been told the first one has been delayed until after 7, and the second one is not off the ground yet from California. Also, the city of Tuscaloosa is asking fans now not to come out to the airport because of the extreme cold. Also, because the Tuscaloosa Regional Airport is not really equipped to deal with so many people, so they are asking fans to not come out to the airport and wait until there's an official celebration. Now, once the team gets to the airport, they'll be loaded onto buses on the tarmac, and then they will go to the Malmore Athletic Facility, where the university says they can talk to fans.
FAA rules are such now that you have to be screened before you can come out on the tarmac through TSA, like getting on an airplane, and you can't just walk out on tarmacs anymore because of security. So
Again, information one more time on how the team is arriving back in Tuscaloosa tonight. The team has arrived to set on 2 planes, originally scheduled to arrive at 6:45 and 7:30. However, both of those planes at this point are now late, and the first one is not going to arrive until after 7. Also, the city of Tuscaloosa asking fans not to come out to the airport. Once the players get back to the airport, they'll be loaded onto buses on the tarmac. Then they will go to the Malmore Athletic Facility. At the athletic facility, barricades are set up and players and coaches can talk to fans, but the crowds have to stay behind the barricades. Now, the University of Alabama says you probably have a much better chance of seeing the players at the Malmore building.
Gary Harris has a wrap-up of the big game between Bama and Texas from inside the Rose Bowl.
Alabama players wanted to give Nick Saban a Gatorade shower at the SEC championship game, but junior All-American linebacker Orlando McClain would not let them do it, saying we've got unfinished business. Well, on Thursday night in Pasadena, California, Nick Saban got a Gatorade shower when Alabama clinched its 13th national championship, but its first since 1992, 37-21 over the Texas Longhorns. And guess what? Even Nick Saban wasn't too upset about getting wet.
Well, I wish they'd do the water, you know. The Gatorade's awful sticky. I'm a lot happier with the bath than I would have been if I didn't get one, I can tell you that.
Nick Saban always talks about overcoming adversity during a game, during a season, during a practice, and certainly Alabama had to do that on Thursday night against Texas. The Longhorns lost their star quarterback, Colt McCoy, on the 5th play of the game, but they fought back in the second half. Down 24-6 at the break, they made it 24-21 and had a chance to win when the Alabama defense stepped up and made the plays to secure the victory. Following the game, Coach Saban said that he's never been prouder of a football team.
I'll tell you what I told the team, that I've never been prouder of a group of guys for their resiliency, their buy-in, their hard work, and coaching staff for the great job that they did.
Let's show you some action from the game on Thursday night. Alabama came out and really got caught off guard, it looked like. Texas pulling out some stops in the kicking game and getting Alabama to have some miscues, got a couple of field goals to make it 6-0. But as we mentioned earlier, McCoy went out on this hit by Marcel Darius, and that really changed the tenor of the game. Alabama's defense began to make plays against a freshman quarterback, and the offense got the running game going in the second quarter, and that led to a couple of touchdowns. And then Alabama, right before the half, it's Darius again with the interception on the shuffle pass. The next to last play of the second quarter, he returns it for a touchdown, and Alabama was up big, 24-6. In the second half, though, as we mentioned earlier, Texas fought back, made it 24-21. We had ourselves a ball game. In fact, Texas had the ball with an opportunity to either tie the game or win it late when Eric Anders stepped up and made the biggest play of the season. The sack, the fumble, Alabama gets on top of it. That led to a Mark Ingram touchdown, and that put Alabama ahead for good. Another interception later in the game led to a Trent Richardson touchdown, and Alabama wins it 37-21. So John Huddleston, Alabama overcomes adversity to win the national championship 37-21. It wasn't always pretty. In fact, that third quarter was downright ugly for Alabama. But as they've done all season, they found a way to win. That's why they're 14-0, and that's why Alabama is the national champion for 2009.
Well, like you said, Gary, it wasn't always pretty, but like Texas wide receiver Jordan Shipley said, Alabama must have done something right because they did win the ball game. You know, Nick Saban preaches about finishing the ball game, finishing the season, and Thursday night, that's exactly what the Crimson Tide did. Just when it looked like Alabama was going to let this game, this season, get away from them, the Tide began to rise.
Gilbert fumble. Ball's loose. Bama's got it.
Eric Anders' sack and Courtney Upshaw's recovery was just another example of how this team has shown the ability to finish, the ability to win in the fourth quarter.
You know, you can't accept being average. You can't accept anything but the best, knowing that when you play a team in a national championship game, that team knows how to win. They have great character themselves, and they have an ability to come back in the game. And I'm also very pleased and proud that our players were able to finish after they did that to make the plays that they needed to make in a game to sort of put it away.
You might have plastered the word finish on the bulletin board of the Bama locker room because it's been their theme and their goal since day one of training camp.
Since we lost to Utah last year, Coach Saban said, what do you want to be remembered as to this new team? And we had our mindset on going undefeated and winning the national championship, winning the SEC championship.
I mean, we worked all year for it. We put in the time, we put in the sweat, and we all hurt.
You know, I'm happy for our fans. I'm happy for our players. I'm happy for all the people who work so hard to try to restore this. And, you know, I'm very happy myself.
So national title number 13 for the Crimson Tide, Gary, and Nick Saban now gets a statue on the Walk of Champions.
It's going to be interesting to see how quick it gets put in.
Yeah.
We're also going to have a national championship parade coming up pretty soon, I got a feeling as well.
I think so.
All right, we're going to wrap it up from the Rose Bowl. Great night on Thursday night for Alabama. As John mentioned, it's a national championship number 13. A long season, but a very gratifying one. Along with John Huddleston, also photographer Todd Hoyer, I'm Gary Harris reporting from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Now back to the studio.
Hello everyone, I'm Claire Stewart. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Well, the national football champions are back home. The Alabama football team touched down around 7:30 at the Tuscaloosa Regional Airport. And here you can see Nick Saban and Terry Saban getting off the plane. Well, after the players deboarded the plane, they hopped on charter buses and headed to the Malmore Athletic Facility by Coleman Coliseum on the UA campus. That's where they were greeted by more fans. Players had the option of speaking to the media if they wanted to, but it was so cold out there, most of them dodged the cameras and headed to their cars. And as you can see from our video, lots of people showed up at the airport and the Malmore building to show their support for the Tide. A crowd of about 250 people grew to around 500 people by the time the Tide's plane touched down at the airport. People came from all over to watch Coach Saban and the Bama team return from Pasadena. Some fans came from as far away as Dothan and Anniston. Their home team was right in the thick of it, braving the cold and an eager throng of jubilant fans to find out why it was so important for them to be there for the team.
Bring it on! Okay. Come on, Roll team. Tide. Yeah, baby. Number one. It feels great.
How cold is it?
It's about 15 degrees, but I'll stay here till daylight.
30 minutes.
We rode all day. We enjoyed the trip. We're here for one purpose.
That's right.
And bring them home.
Bring them to the house. Why is it important for you guys to be out here tonight?
Because we're part of the process. I want them to know that.
Just proud of our team. Just wanted to congratulate them when they touched down.
Why is it important for you to be out here tonight?
This is our national championship we waited forever for. Well, not forever. Long time.
To cheer on the national champions.
It's been 17 years. That's why it's important to be here. We brought it.
How cold is it, Pat?
It's cold, but it's very worth it. It's worth it.
What?
I don't care if my toes are freezing right now, but I know it's for Bama. I've been out here since about 5:15.
Wow. So you've been here for the long haul.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Really important. I love Crimson Tide. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Here, how cold is it?
Pretty cold. Equal zero feeling.
Right, why is it so important for you?
Because it's Alabama and it's worth it. Woo!
Well, now that players are back home, a few of them have some decisions to make, like entering the NFL draft. At today's news conference in Pasadena, Alabama head coach Nick Saban says he has a process for players that want to enter the draft. Saban says being a first-round draft pick is very important.
I very clearly state to them that when they're eligible for the draft, if they're first-round draft picks, and we will do everything we can to find out what their draft status is, that they certainly have to make a strong consideration from a business standpoint to consider coming out for the draft.
Saban says he suggests players who are not first-round drafts stay in school and graduate so they can try to become first-round draft picks the next year. He does this because there is such a sharp difference in the amount of money players get if they are not chosen in the first round.